All right, so get this. We're diving into the Anurag Sagar,
Okay.
a text that claims to hold, get this, the secrets to the soul's true home. It's a deep exploration of, creation, karma, even liberation, the big stuff.
And what's so fascinating is that it approaches these huge concepts like, through a very specific lens, the vision of Kabir Sahib.
Right. And we're looking at a German translation of the original English text, which was published online like back in 2008.
Wow.
And then in print in 2014. By the way, huge shout out to Pi Jamal for making this knowledge available. But this translation thing, it just shows you how these ideas, they can resonate across cultures.
Absolutely. And in this deep dive, we're going to break it all down, sort of give you that foundation in the Anurag Sagar's unique perspective.
So where do we even begin with a text that's like all about the soul's journey?
Well, every good story needs its characters, right?
Yeah.
And the Anurag Sagar has some really intriguing ones.
Okay.
Let's start with Satpurush. Think of him as the ultimate source, the big boss of existence.
Right. Like the ultimate reality behind everything.
Yeah.
And then we've got Niranjan, who's like given this massive job of creation, right?
Yeah.
But then things get a little interesting because he decides to go a little, rogue.
Exactly. The Anurag Sagar calls it stubbornness. Instead of sticking to Satpurush's plan, he goes and creates the lower worlds, the ones that we find ourselves in.
So it's like that moment you try to bake a cake your own way, ignoring the recipe, and it totally flops.
Perfect analogy.
Right.
And speaking of things that can throw us off track, we have to talk about Kal. You know how sometimes you feel stuck, like time is working against you?
Yeah, definitely.
The Anurag Sagar would say that's Kal's influence. He embodies time, fate, and according to the text, those who misuse the Anurag Sagar's knowledge might find themselves at the mercy of his four messengers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Intense.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's not all doom and gloom, right? We've also got Gayan, who represents pure knowledge and wisdom, like having the cheat codes for a more fulfilling life, right?
Precisely. And in the Anurag Sagar's narrative, it's Kabir Sahib who embodies Gayan, guiding seekers on the path to liberation.
Okay, buckle up, because this creation story is wild. Imagine the universe being built with words.
Okay.
Kind of like a divine code almost.
Yeah.
Each shabda is a line of code, a stage in the creation process.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
The Anurag Sagar says knowledge, or Gayan, is one of the most powerful lines in that code.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. It really highlights the importance of knowledge in this whole cosmic setup. And when we look at the Anurag Sagar's specific creation story, it's unlike anything you've probably heard before.
Just flipping through the table of contents, it's like, wait, what? You've got Adya's three sons, like, building the universe. Brahma on this, like, epic search for his mother.
Vishnu transforming into darkness, the concept of four types of beings called Gatungen, and the idea of reincarnation. Souls constantly moving through different lifetimes.
Right.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And then there's this whole concept of the sound current, described as Tonstrom in the German translation. This sound stream that supposedly connects us to the source of everything.
Think of it like an invisible river of energy flowing through all of creation. Okay. And by tapping into this current, we can potentially break free from those limitations that Niranjan inadvertently set in motion.
So are you saying we all have a little bit of Niranjan inside us, creating our own personal lower worlds with our doubts and desires?
That's a really interesting way to look at it, and the Anurag Sagar seems to suggest exactly that. We'll dive into how that works a bit later, but for now, let's take a closer look at how our actions here in these lower worlds affect our journey. This is where the concept of karma comes into play.
Okay, so we've got Niranjan, like, creating these lower worlds, the sound current, like, connecting everything. And now karma gets thrown into the mix. This is starting to sound like a cosmic soap opera.
Well, it's certainly a dramatic setup. But think about it this way. Imagine karma not as some, cosmic punishment system, but more like a universal law of cause and effect.
Right, like a spiritual version of what goes around comes around.
Exactly. The Anurag Sagar gets super specific, breaking karma down into three types.
Okay.
You've got Kriyaman, which is all about the actions you're taking right now in this moment.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what we do today has a ripple effect on our future.
That's Kriyaman.
Okay.
Then there's Pralav, which you can think of as destiny, the hand you're dealt based on, past actions. And then there's Sanchit, the storehouse of karma from all your previous lives. It's like that junk drawer we all have. You know there's stuff in there, but you'd rather not think about it.
Oh man, that Sanchit karma sounds like it could get heavy. Yeah. Is there a way to clear out that cosmic junk drawer?
That's a great question. And the Anurag Sagar offers some really insightful answers. But before we jump into that, remember the farmer analogy from earlier? It's all about the seeds we plant.
Right. It's like that saying, you reap what you sow. So if we want a bountiful harvest, we need to plant the right seeds.
Exactly. But the Anurag Sagar, it takes it a step further by introducing the concept of inner tones. Imagine these tones as subtle whispers, influencing our thoughts, our actions.
Okay, so how do these inner tones work? Are we talking like good vibes versus bad vibes?
Kind of. The Anurag Sagar describes tones from the right as positive, guiding us towards spiritual growth, like whispers of intuition, compassion, connection to something bigger. But then there are those pesky tones from the left.
The ones that lead us astray.
You got it. Think of those as the whispers of doubt, fear, all those desires that keep us stuck in those lower worlds we talked about.
So how do we learn to listen to the right whispers and tune out the rest? This whole inner tones thing makes it sound like we've got a constant internal debate going on.
You're absolutely right. And it's not always easy to distinguish those voices. That's where a key figure comes in, the guru or spiritual master.
Like a guide to help navigate this inner landscape.
Precisely. The Anurag Sagar emphasizes the importance of having a guide who has already walked the path, who can help us discern those inner tones and navigate towards liberation. But remember, even with a guide, the real work happens within.
So we've got this internal tug of war going on with these inner tones, and the guru can help us navigate, right? But what does that actually look like? How do we actually start listening to the whispers of wisdom over the shouts of the ego?
Well, that's where the sound current comes back into play. Remember that invisible river of energy, the Tonstrom, the Anurag Sagar suggests that by connecting with this current, through meditation, focus, listening, spiritual practices, we can start to quiet the mind a little bit.
So it's like tuning out the noise of the world and tuning into our own inner frequency.
Exactly. And when we can quiet those mental distractions, that's when we can start to hear those subtler whispers, those tones from the right, guiding us toward liberation.
But it's not just about sitting in silence, is it? The Anurag Sagar also emphasizes right action. Right. So it seems like it's a combination of inner work and how we show up in the world.
Absolutely. It's like the sound current provides the map, but our actions are the steps we take on the path.
Right.
It's about aligning our everyday lives with those whispers of wisdom, with those principles of Gyan.
And that's where those warnings about misusing the Anurag Sagar's knowledge come in, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just have the map. We have to actually take the journey.
Exactly. Knowledge without action is like having a perfectly tuned instrument but never playing it. The true magic happens when we put the wisdom into practice.
After spending time with the Anurag Sagar, I'm really struck by how it weaves together these big cosmic ideas with practical guidance on living a more fulfilling life.
It's a beautiful blend of mysticism and practicality. It doesn't shy away from the vastness of creation, but it also offers very, down-to-earth advice on navigating those inner struggles we all face.
It's like the Anurag Sagar saying, yes, there's this incredible cosmic dance happening.
Right.
But you're not just a passive observer. You have a role to play. A part to create.
And it reminds us that we're all connected to each other, to the sound current, to the ultimate source. It's a message of hope, of possibility, and ultimately of liberation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Anurag Sagar, I'm left with this lingering sense of awe and a lot to think about.
It's a text that stays with you, that invites you to, keep questioning, keep exploring, and that's the beauty of it, really.
If the universe was spoken into being, if Gyan is part of that divine code, then maybe understanding those whispers, that inner wisdom, is how we add our own verse to the cosmic song.
What a beautiful way to put it. This deep dive has been quite a journey.